Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and I want to talk about the idea that picking a fight with somebody just because you have military superiority and after fashion is probably not a good long-term plan. Well, here's the thing. So you may already be guessing who I'm referring to, with the U.S. government and the U.S. military believing that they are superior, always having been superior for quite some time in the world military scene, and having a foreign policy that amounts to just going around kicking everybody's ass because they know they're going to win. I don't need to itemize or list off all of the conflicts that the U.S. has been involved in, but this is kind of what it comes down to. If you look at the argument of nationalists, that is the people who are staunch patriots in favor of the establishment and military force and strong, hard borders between us and other countries, it all boils down to kind of one thing, where you see a pattern emerge of our country, the United States, being hostile and aggressive towards pretty much anybody whose ass we can kick, and we leverage it. We leverage it economically, we leverage it politically, and this has been our very simple and brutal plan for almost 200 years, by the looks of it. And the reason I'm saying it might not be a good long-term plan is because if you look at countries that have prospered throughout history, that have actually, kept their governments and kept their peace for long periods, if that's valuable, and kept their prosperity, right, because that's the goal, hopefully, you see something emerge. You see that they acknowledge diplomacy, usually. There's some form of balance with the rest of the world so that they don't, make a mistake eventually and, pick on someone bigger than themselves on accident, get in over their heads with some Cold War that spirals out of control, so to speak. And, it's just kind of an obvious thing, right? It's like the bully in school who just runs around beating up people until suddenly he finds someone who gives him a little bit of a surprise, so to speak, right? Someone who may not be as big as him, but has the energy and the readiness. They say the one who wins the fight is the one who's ready for it. I don't know if you heard that one, but it's very, very true. It doesn't matter so much how big you are. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. Maybe you've heard that one too. So, nationalists, God bless them. I think that they have a point. They like their families a lot. That's obvious, and probably nobody even asked. But there's a whole world going on out there, and to fail to acknowledge it, to fail to try to communicate with it and understand it, and work with it instead of just kicking its ass every day because you happen to have a bigger gun. That's the ending will be self-evident, as they say. How this turns out will be a lesson for future historians, and there will be winners and losers, as usual. So if you like that comment, if you don't like that comment, reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.